Have you ever got into a situation where your interviewer has seen your entire resume, gone through it, and then asked you, tell me something which is not there in your resume, or started talking to you something which is very different from your profile? Hi, my name is Vijay. I'm an L&D professional, a trainer, coach, an entrepreneur, and an author. In this video, we're going to talk about the second secret of making a resume effective, and that is making it like a question, not like an answer, right? Making it like a question paper, not like an answer sheet. If you find value in this video, kindly share it, subscribe to this channel. A lot of learning is going to come ahead. Making your resume as a question paper, not as an answer sheet, sounds little odd. Don't just go by the words. Try to understand the real meaning inside. As I asked in the beginning, a question where somebody would have looked at your resume and then asked you, tell me something which is not there. What's the point? The entire resume is there to tell what all things that you have done. Let me explain what it is. As I asked you earlier, if you have faced a situation like this where people have asked you questions, tell me something which is not there in your resume. This happens because when they have looked through your resume, they haven't got any question in their mind because it was so clear and so easy for them. They've just saw it like, okay, I have all the information which is there, which is required, but then to know more about the candidate, they just couldn't find a question. Let me explain you in a little more detail. It goes like this. To start with, most of the interviewers doesn't have a lot of questions to ask. They don't come with a question bank or a question paper to ask the interviewees during the interview. What they do is they search the questions in you. When I say they search the questions in you, is they search the questions in your resume, in the document that you have given, in the way you speak to them, in the entire conversation, what is coming up. So their entire idea is to pick questions from you because they don't have questions. Now understand this carefully. When the interviewer don't have questions and they are finding the questions from you, why don't you give them? Why don't you create the document in a way which could create a lot of questions in their mind, and when they get those questions, they're going to ask you those questions. And when they ask you the questions that you have carefully planted in your resume, how wonderful it is, because you would have prepared very well for those questions and how to answer them. It is a sure, short, impressive and impactful conversation that will happen at that moment, because people have asked you something that you want them to ask. Let me explain this to you with some examples. Instead of writing, taking care of documents of new joiners, right? Created an efficient file management process which is followed even till date. When you write a line like followed even till date, do you understand the question that arises in the interviewer's mind? What is it that you have done? And here you go. You got a chance to explain your success stories, your experience, the thing that you have done and which has worked well. Let's see another example. Instead of writing, helped in making the process easy for onboarding of new employees. Write, assisted and improved the overall onboarding of new employees. When you have put a line like you have assisted in improving the overall onboarding process, the question arises in the interviewer's mind, what is it that is done? What is it that is done that ensured the overall onboarding experience is so wonderful? Now here you go, a chance to talk about what have you done. Right, let us see another example. Instead of writing, help teachers with new teaching tools to work virtually. Write, highly appreciated for introducing teachers to new techniques for effective teaching virtually. I hope these examples are helpful. You all need to ensure that find out those keywords, key lines that you can add in your resume, so that when the interviewer looks at it, reads the resume, he or she gets those questions to ask. And because you have planted those questions carefully, you should have been prepared very well with the answers. And when you answer the questions that you have prepared well, your chances of creating the impact is high. Your chances of being successful there is also very high. There are multiple ways during this conversation how you can use this technique and ensure you carry the entire interview in a very successful way. A lot of more on this is going to come in the coming videos, so be with me, stay tuned, stay strong, and happy learning.